I've started reading this fascinating book by one of my revered mentors, John Maxwell. You probably know that name. He's the leadership guru. He's written a new book titled Leadershift. And what one thing he's emphasizing in this book is that we've moved past that era where management was the hot topic and people were trying to figure out how to be more efficient, how to get the most productivity out of employees, and then moved into that era where leadership was the in thing, the thing in vogue, where people started to realize that, okay, we need to be able to move from here and inspire change in our people and lead them to new frontiers. Now we are in an era where change is the dominant theme. And so for a leader, the ability to shift is going to be very critical. It's actually not going to be, it's already very critical. And his idea here is that as a leader, you do not compromise on your values and the vision for your people, but you must be flexible in how you approach the the task of leading people to that vision that you see in your mind. Your flexibility in your approach, but being stable in your principle. And you might ask, okay, so what's the point of this video? Why are we talking about this? I've started seeing, especially on Instagram and maybe TikTok, people who traditionally would not jump on things like that. I now see them making maybe advertisements, or not really advertisements, but I'll say, for example, you see your typical pastor. I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a pastor doesn't do that kind of thing. Able to dance in a function was like, or to eat where other people are eating, pastors like, no, 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 that kind of thing. And I think at that time, that was a way to maintain a level of respect or honor, at least traditionally where I come from. But now I'm seeing pastors on TikTok doing challenges, inviting people to church. And not just pastors, this is not about pastors, maybe also leaders, CEOs. You see them very active on social media, reaching out to people through social media. 10, 15 years ago, yeah, I know social media was not very active then, but just putting it in that same context, you would not have expected a leader to be doing that. And for me, that highlights what John Maxwell is talking about. The leaders who are actually leading now, the people who are realizing what's at stake, what's the current reality, and are actually effectively being leaders, are the people who have been able to shift and break out from the traditional way of doing things where you're always aloof in that. I mean, being aloof has never been a leadership trait, to be honest, but just this mindset where it's like you have to always be composed and decorum and not be authentic, that has drastically changed, at least in my what I call it my experience. Just by observing what is going on, you see top CEOs, you see A-list celebrities, you see even pastors now moving with the wind of social media. And when I say it that way, that terminology, moving with the wind, is just like when you're on the sea and then you're trying to set sail, you want to make sure that you are in the direction of the wind and you're not working against the wind unless you absolutely have to, if that was the direction in which you were going. It's a lot better when you're sailing in the direction in which the wind is blowing. And so for leadership today, we're seeing that leaders have to shift. And that I think is a very, very interesting idea. And how do we apply this to our personal lives? Maybe there's a way you've always done things. Maybe you've always had this mindset, this perspective on how certain things should be done. It's time to reevaluate and see, okay, is it actually practical now? Is it realistic? Very important that you don't compromise. Compromise is different from leader shifting, right? Leader shifting is when you as a leader are able to change your techniques. You're able to flow with the wind, like I said. but still maintain your values. So it must be evident the things you stand in for, even though you're now, for example, like the example I used on social media. Yeah, you're on social media doing the challenges, you still have your values that you are enforcing or upholding, you know. And I thought that was a really interesting idea. I'm still reading the book, and I will share with you things that I find interesting and which I believe can be beneficial for you as well. Thank you for watching.